the Balls Podcast
with Mark Davis, Krista Meinhardt, Luke Rule, Jake Winnikine, Alan Tomasella, and Nick the Doc Skirkle. Good evening. I'm Mark Davis. That's Luke Rule. This is All About the Balls Podcast. It is Wednesday, January 8th. We are literally just less than 24 hours away from the college football playoff semifinals kicking off between Notre Dame and Penn State and Miami, Florida for the Capital One Orange Bowl. Luke, how are you doing, man? We were here last night. It was good to be back after a few weeks off, but now we're here just literally less than a day away from 5 straight days of college football, NFL playoffs. Just nothing to watch between Thursday.
Super excited
Monday.
for it. Pretty much all the games look like they're going to be pretty good matchups for the most part, too. So kind of like that there's only one game on at a time, so not multi-viewing everything. You can watch everything in full this weekend. So, hey, all these games matter this weekend, too. Every game matters.
It's win or go home. It's win or go home now for all your team. Your team plays Saturday night. Like you said, it's the best time because there's no multi-view. Playoffs, it's the way it's supposed to be. It's all standalone games. I get it, they're not all prime time considered because it's not nighttime, but they're all prime time if you ask me, because it's the only game going on.
Yeah, the NFL is always prime time.
Oh, they steal unless you ask LeBron James and the NBA, they think that Christmas is still their time.
No, Christmas is the NFL's day now.
Yeah, I love that.
Unless it falls on a Tuesday. If Christmas falls on a Tuesday, maybe not.
It was on a Wednesday, and they did it. So
yeah,
on Tuesday they'll still do it.
They'll just push like that week back or something.
No, they'll just so the end of the week would be Tuesday. It's kind of like how when COVID was when the COVID season, they played some games on Tuesday because they had to push games back because of guys having COVID potentially.
That's just wild.
I hate to break it to LeBron too. Next year, Christmas is on Thursday, which is the NFL's day. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell them there. I mean, unfortunately.
Yeah, NFL will have a full 3-game slate going on for I would assume, or at least 2 games that day.
Well, Netflix, I believe, has the rights for a few years, so it'll be a Netflix special, I believe, again. And Netflix, I thought, did a good job. I mean, they took crews from other like Fox, CBS. They took guys, ESPN. I thought they did a good job. Presentation was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, there's no buffering in this, so I think they got worked out all the kinks in the Tyson Paul fight. So I think they got to figure it out. I heard Monday Night Raw went pretty well too.
Yeah, so like
they've got to figure it out.
Yeah, Pat asked Triple H on Monday before the show, like, what do you think's going to happen because of Tyson Paul, and then he's like, football went up pretty smooth. He's like, well, pretty much Paul and Tyson was kind of the guinea pig. That was going to be, and that's what Triple H said. And then The Rock, he threatened the Netflix owners pretty much. He said, if I buffer, I'm going to come up there and I'm going to pretty much beat your ass. So, you got The Rock saying that, so you might as well, kind of like live through it. But it's pretty good. I watched Raw the whole way through it. I didn't have a buffer. I think some people had glitches here and there, but it's for like a half a second. It wasn't anything crazy. Yeah, typical streaming.
That Paul and Tyson one was bad.
Yeah, nothing to that extreme. it would buffer maybe for like a second or two, and then it goes back to normal. Not just sitting there on Mike Tyson's ass cheeks, pretty much. It wasn't doing that. Hey, Luke, also breaking news too. I think we've been talking about it. Coach Primetime said the only way now he'll coach in the NFL is if he can coach Shiloh and Shador. So I believe now the door's open wherever Shador goes. If Shiloh's an undrafted free agent one day, if he's not playing on a roster, he'll bring Shiloh in and keep him on the team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'd be too hard to get both Sanders kids on the same team because I don't think Shiloh's going to get drafted.
So pretty much if he gets drafted by the Giants, what can happen is Dayball can get fired in a couple of years, and if Shiloh's floating around, he'll bring Shiloh in.
Or they can come to Tennessee.
I would actually be – I think they would thrive in like Nashville. I think that they would love the city. I think they would not thrive as in like bring greatness, but like they would thrive and love the area.
Yeah, they got a new stadium's like, it's under construction. Like that bitch is going up pretty quickly. So
yeah, because when I was there in July to see you guys, I mean, it was breaking ground. I mean, it was definitely they were going.
They got like pretty much most of the structure there now.
Oh yeah, so.
Yeah, it's supposed to open 2027 season, I think.
Is it a dome?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it has a roof over it, yes. I don't know if it's open air or not.
if it's a tractable one like that, they will have a Super Bowl and probably the first.
Yeah, they're gonna get Super Bowl. I think the only thing with them is similar like the Raiders Stadium, where it's got like a lower seating capacity. I think it's like 60,000 or something like that.
If the Super Bowl when it does come to Nashville, if you're still there in the area and I'm still here not deployed, I might come down for that weekend and just kind of experience Nashville for Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah, it'd probably be wild.
Sydney would be loving.
Expensive weekend.
Airport's bar would be probably packed with all the people.
Yeah, they usually get packed on game days anyways for whatever other teams coming to play the Titans. The fans like to travel down to Nashville.
Same with Vanderbilt probably too.
Yeah, probably. We had a bunch of Bama fans here from Bama played.
Yeah, a lot of Bama fans there. Oh, that was a good day for Vanderbilt. But Luke, speaking of good days, man, let's start this off, man. Like I said, we're going to start off with the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to the Houston Texans. The Chargers, Luke, they are the favorites. They are 11-6. They are the 5 seed. The Texans are 10-7. They kind of pretty much rested their starters. And this second half of the game, pretty much, they still beat the Titans week 18. Luke, what are you looking for here? Like, this is kind of an interesting game. I don't know how to swing, like, who's going to win, who's not going to win. But when it comes to, like, storylines, matchups, what are you looking for with these two teams, especially the Chargers finally back in the playoffs with Jim Harbaugh as first-year coach?
Yeah, I mean, I think this game is probably one of the easier ones to, like, predict just because I have faith in Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert to get things done. They got a good defense over there. And C.J. Stroud just hasn't been the same dude that he was last year. So, I mean, they're going to pound the rock and, Herbert's going to hit McConkey for some big plays, and they're going to play defense. That's what the Harbs do. They run the ball and play defense.
Well, that's kind of what I was leaning towards too, Luke, is which offense can sustain drives and kind of like keep the ball. I know the Chargers, they were pretty good at running the ball early in the year, but J.K.'s had some injuries, and again, unfortunately,
him and Gus should both be in this game, I think.
That's what I was going to ask. Is Gus playing? I didn't know 100%. Quentin Johnston's come back a little bit. He's kind of been balling the last couple of games, and we know what Ladd McConkey is. I mean, almost any other year, like one of these receivers, and including Ladd McConkey, would be Rookie of the Year if these quarterbacks weren't doing what they were doing. He had a spectacular season, and Herbert finally gets his chance to go back in the playoffs after kind of like the 27-0 blown lead he had against the Jaguars. But same thing with the Texans. Can they sustain a drive? Can they ride Joe Mixon? Could that open up C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins? I mean, I get it. They don't have the receivers because they lost Stephon and they lost Tank Dell. But can Dalton Schultz become more viable? I mean, the defenses are both great, Luke. You got Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter. Can the Chargers O-line hold up with Slater and Joe Alt? That's a question mark, obviously. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard because
I saw Joe Alt in this game.
He's banged up too, I think. And I believe he's banged up. Well, they're all banged up this time of the year, honestly. But.
Yeah, he played last week, though, so I would assume he'd be playing, should be fine.
I was trying to see because both defenses, you have the Chargers, Texans are the top 5 off our defense based on yards. Chargers are kind of like top 10, top 11. And then they both don't allow many points per game. Chargers number 1. Texans kind of in the middle-ish, 21.9, but only 4.8 off the Chargers. So I believe it's just which offense can sustain maybe back-to-back drives, kind of keep the ball there. It might come down to the running game, Luke. It might be, can J.K. and Gus Edwards outperform Joe Mixon? I mean, that's what it might be. It might come down to.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, it should be a good game. I think it should be an easy game for the Chargers, just the way the Texans have been playing pretty much at the end of the season. It's just, I mean, I would like the Texans to win because, it could be easier path for the Ravens. So,
yeah, because if somehow the Broncos upset the Bills and then they beat the Chargers, you'd play them next round. So you'd have to play, and you get a home game, and you'd have a home game.
That'd be sweet.
I think that the Texans are. I was actually saying that I think almost any team could beat the Texans. I'm still not a believer on the Chargers yet. Like, I love what they did this year. Don't get me wrong. Very remarkable season from the Bolts. But I'm going to go with the Texans. They got the rest of the offense. I'm thinking Joe Mixon's going to come out. I think CJ is going to have a big game, kind of quiet the doubters just for this one game, and then we'll see what happens next week. Spoiler when they play the Chiefs. But I'm going to go with Houston. I'm going to go with the home underdog here. I'm going to ride with C.J. Stroud and this well-coached team and the defense, too. I believe the defense is going to get after Herbert, and they might contain Ladd McConkey. like I said, he's a beast though. But they might contain him, not stop him, but limit him a little bit.
No, I'm riding the Chargers. Jim wins everywhere he goes. He's going to win his first playoff game in his first season. So go Chargers, go.
I believe every playoffs he's ever had, well, all Niners obviously, he made it to the NFC Championship or Super Bowl every single season.
That's not happening this year, but
I mean,
they'll win a game. They'll win a game.
Yeah.
I got them beating the Chargers. Beating the Texans.
Well, Luke, next game, man, Saturday night. This game follows your game. This is the night game on Saturday. I believe it's Amazon Prime, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, big spread, 9.5 points.
Yeah, I was gonna say big spread for the home team. You guys split this year. Obviously, they beat you guys in Acrisure Stadium. Y'all beat them in the bank. Luke, we know probably what the storylines are gonna be, but man, what are you looking for with these two AFC North rivals?
Yeah, I mean, two completely different ways for each team to finish the season. Steelers had a 4-game skid, and Baltimore had a 4-game win streak. So Ravens are coming in a high. Steelers probably coming in very pissed off. I think they're taking a hard look in the mirror at themselves this week. The Steelers are, and trying to figure out a game plan that they can play against this Ravens defense. Because this Ravens defense since week 11 has been number one in every defensive category.
Oh yeah.
So this
they've
defense,
woken up. Yeah.
Since we dropped Kyle Hamilton back to a true safety position, and Stevenson back there, this defense is just woken up. I don't know what Zach Orr did to the boys over there, but I don't know if he just figured out how to call plays or he got the boys fired up. But Zach Orr's doing a good job at the second half of the season to get that defense right. So, I mean,
I love what I'm seeing from the Ravens defense. I know, like, the first half of the season, Luke, I mean, you were very, very questionable on, obviously, rightfully so. It was like anyone could pass on them. Like, you can get 300-400 yards passing if you really want to. You didn't have to run the ball on them because the other quarterback's just going to throw the ball. But now that your defense is woken up, Luke, you still have Lamar Jackson, a potential MVP this year. He's a 2-time MVP in the past. So, regardless, he's a multiple-time MVP. He's arguably playing his best season of his career. You have Derrick Henry in the backfield. Don't know what Zay Flowers' status is yet at the time or right now. I know he's day-to-day.
Yeah, I would say it's probably leaning towards not playing because he hasn't practiced yet, but he's got 3 more days before the game, so who knows? I mean, they say he's up and walking around the facility, so maybe he's just resting the whole time. But if he doesn't play, I think we'll be okay without Zay. I mean, it's a big loss, but we got a bunch of other guys that catch football too. Like you saw last week, Zay went down, I think, at the first quarter.
Yeah, Bateman stepped up.
Yeah, Bateman stepped up. Likely, probably get a lot more action going on.
Mark Andrews is woken up too. You already know that. So
yeah, Mark Andrews is back. Justin Tucker's back. He hasn't missed a kick since the bye. So
yeah,
he hasn't had a kick made field goals, but he's a lot of.
Well, you can see the first kick after the bye. I think it was like a 50+ yarder, and you can see how relieved he was. Like it felt like all the like the weight of the world just relieved was off his chest, off his shoulders.
I think old Tuck's back, hopefully.
That's dangerous for other teams. Just don't. Yeah. If I'm Tucker, though, and you just happen to play the Chiefs again, do not go sit here and piss off Kelsey and Mahomes. Just
he did his normal pregame routine.
I know.
The kickers kick both sides.
It was just Kelsey Mahomes just needed, like, it's kind of what like Michael Jordan used to do back in the day. They have to find something to get themselves going. That was their motivation. Yeah. I mean, it happens. But this game, though, Luke, too, it's
picked on the kicker.
This game, the Steelers, though, like you said, they're going the wrong direction while the Steelers while the Ravens are going the opposite. They're on a 4-game losing streak. The offense is slowed down. George Pickens is in his own head. He had more drop passes than receiving yards and catches combined last game. So, like, that's saying something. I mean, I like George Pickens. I think he's a good receiver. I know he's got his problems, mentality-wise. He's maybe got some on the field and off the field issues. Hey, it is what it is. I still think he's good. But this is the Russ I expected. I didn't know what Russ to expect. I thought maybe he'd be an average quarterback, and he's kind of come back to earth a little bit, and he just doesn't look good. The moon ball is not working no more. His patent moon ball, that's not working anymore. And Kyle Van Noy on the other side, I didn't mention that yet. Ageless wonder. He's like 12 sacks this year.
He's at 12 or 13 or something like that. I think he's like number 3 in sacks this year. I mean, no, ain't nobody talking about him either.
Yeah,
talk about like the big 3 pass rushers, but old man back there racking up sacks.
I know this is the rivalry game, and I know like Chris likes to call it Lamar's history of kryptonite is the P and P, which is Pittsburgh and playoffs, and now you're playing them together. I don't think the Pittsburgh is going to be a problem. I don't think this playoff game is going to be a problem for Lamar.
No. At night in the bank too.
Yeah, I think only 2 AFC teams can beat the Ravens anyways, and it would have. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to beat them. I'm saying that there's only 2 that can beat them, and I believe it is Kansas City, and I believe this is a better Buffalo team than they were when they played y'all before, and it will be in Buffalo this time, not Baltimore. That's a big difference, but those are the only 2 teams beating Baltimore if it even happens, and so this week it ain't happening. I'm sorry, Pittsburgh. It's just the Ravens are just too good. I mean, they're just too good compared to what you guys are right now, and I know you have T.J. Watt and you have a defense that's pretty good, but man, this Ravens team is they're pretty good. They're pretty deadly.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
So if you don't understand, I'm going Baltimore. It's an easy one for me.
Yeah, I'm riding the Ravens here too.
If it does happen, I would stay off your phone for the night, maybe even the next day.
Yeah,
probably
I ain't talking. I ain't talking to you guys.
Well, I know you'll probably be quiet for a little while until you know what you're gauging here.
Yeah, see, we'll see what's happening after the first quarter or the first half.
Yeah. But no, Luke, that's Saturday, Luke, and starting off Sunday at 1 p.m., you have the Denver Broncos. I think a sneaky team because of their defense. They get to the quarterback, traveling out east to the Buffalo Bills against Josh Allen, a potential MVP this year as well. So, Luke, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I think this is a sneaky upset game for the Bills. Just the way this defense is going to match up against Josh Allen. Patrick Surtain, he's going to lock down one half of the field already on his own, and this defense has been playing pretty good all season long. So I think the Bills' offense is going to struggle a little bit going against this Broncos defense. It's really up to how Bo Nix plays under the pressure against the Bills defense, which I don't think's that great. But
they're average. They're average at best.
Yeah. So if Bo Nix can show up and perform like he did last week, I know he was playing backups last week for Kansas City, but if he can show up and play like that, this Bills team's going to have a very tough time scoring on those Broncos.
And I know CJ will be getting to the Washington-Tampa game after 2 games from now. We're only doing about like 4 or 5 minutes per game, so stay with us. But Luke, like you didn't mention too, Denver, they are the league leading sack. Like as a defense, they lead the league in sacks. And Josh Allen, we know what he likes to do. He likes to expand the pocket. He likes to push the pocket one way. He likes to get the defense on their, kind of chasing him. If Denver gets him to play in the pocket, it could be dangerous for him. Like you mentioned, who's Pat Surtain going to cover? I'm assuming he's going to maybe guard Shakir as probably as their number 1 receiver. Maybe Cooper. I don't know who Surtain's going to look at. I don't think Josh is going to care too much who he's guarding because I think Josh, he'll throw it to anybody. He will. Can James Cook get going too to get the defense to kind of press the box a little bit and then leave more openings for Josh Allen and some of his throws?
Yeah, nobody gives Josh Allen shit for having James Cook, who also had the same amount of touchdowns as Derrick Henry, but
but not 1,000-yard rusher.
Lamar's not the MVP because Derrick Henry scored a bunch of touchdowns.
But Derrick Henry also has 1,700 yards. James Cook has like 900 or something like that.
Hey, it sucks for them.
I mean,
wait, they had that they're under the boy from Kentucky. He
Ray Davis
played well too. Yeah,
I like Ray Davis. I think he's pretty good. Sucks he's
behind. I liked him coming out of college. I thought he'd be a pretty solid back.
He was a 1,000-yard rusher, I think, every college he was at, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was good.
And it just sucks. We said it last night. Whoever doesn't win MVP, it's a shame because this is a year that both quarterbacks they're killing it. I mean, they're both playing great football. Yeah, someone has to lose it.
I still wouldn't be surprised if they do a co-MVP.
Yeah, they might do that just to kind of save face. But, Luke, this game here, like you said, I believe sneaky game. I think Denver, and that's kind of what my biggest story is how is Bo Nix going to perform won't be lights, but, with the whole world watching him. Everyone's watching him. It's his first meaningful game. It's his biggest game of his NFL career, biggest game of probably his football career. I mean, even in college, it's probably his biggest game. I think that Denver is going to play them tough, but I really think that Josh Allen, me, I'm going to give Josh Allen at least 1 win. I think the Bills at home, especially being a 1 o'clock kickoff, 10 a.m. for the Broncos or whatever, the 11 a.m. It's a couple hours behind. So they're playing pretty much a little sluggish maybe. I don't know, man. I think that Buffalo's going to come out. And I think Denver's going to come out too, but I think Buffalo's going to pull away in the fourth quarter. Maybe a walk-off field goal by Tyler Bass.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely not be betting this 8.5 for the Bills to cover. I think this game's close. I think it's, like you said, like a field goal game. I think the Broncos can pull off the upset against the Bills, though. Shock the world. Knock Josh Poo out round 1.
I'll be pissed.
That's what I'm going for. Then the Ravens get a second home game, so that'd be awesome.
Well, I mean, yeah, you would get a second home game because the 2 would be out. But you probably could play. You have to play Kansas City probably because they're not losing Denver. I'm sorry, they're not losing.
Maybe we get a third home game.
You would hope you'd be rooting for Bo Nix hard.
I think Lamar would get a lot of shit if he got out, made it to the Super Bowl without having to play Josh Allen or Mahomes.
Hey, but you play who's in front of you. I mean, like, you can't.
But still, they'd be like, "Oh, he had an easy path." I'm like, "Well, the other teams lost."
Hey, well, if he had an easy path, how come the other teams that had an easy path couldn't win as well?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Well, how come Mahomes and then at that point, why couldn't Allen and Mahomes win the easy games just like Lamar had to play? I mean, they play all the same teams. Then, like, think about it. If Bo Nix beats Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes but can't beat Lamar, that's a testament to the Ravens and Lamar Jackson.
I'm a big Broncos fan.
Yeah. No, I have the Bills winning this game, but like you said, I think the Broncos cover the spread. I think it's a closer game than the spread.
Yeah, I got it about a field goal game. Either way, really a coin toss, but I'm leaning Broncos just for that defense. Hopefully they can shock the world.
Luke,
got to pick some upsets.
Yeah, you do. Technically, the Texans is my upset. It's an upset game because they're underdogs.
Yeah.
Luke, Sunday at 4:30 on Fox. Following that game, we have the Eagles. We have the Packers. Remember, Week 1 in Brazil, it came down to the wire. Jordan Love did get hurt that game, but this game, Jordan Love kind of banged up too. He hurt his elbow. I think they said it was his funny bone that made his hand numb. He couldn't finish the game. Couldn't feel it. Christian Watson tore his knee up. He's out for the remainder of the playoffs, depending on how far they go too. Jalen Hurts has kind of been questionable with the concussion protocol. He hasn't really practiced. I believe he's going to play.
Is he cleared yet or no?
If
he doesn't play, that changes my pick.
I think he's going to play. And to be honest, I think Kenny Pickett can beat the Packers. I'm not going to lie. I think the Eagles are just too loaded. I think that they're just too loaded. I respect the Packers defense. They're playing good. I just think the Eagles are too loaded in this game. I don't trust the Packers. I don't trust Jordan Love. I said it after last year. I need to see Jordan Love show me he can win big games. I know he did last year against the Cowboys, but he has not looked amazing this year. The Packers, it has to depend on Josh Jacobs. This needs to be a Josh Jacobs game and keep Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith off the field.
The Packers also lost Christian Watson too, didn't they?
Yeah, his knee, non-contact injury. Yeah, that was bad. You saw it too. As soon as he dug in, he went to the ground.
Yeah. So that explains it. I'm going Eagles. I think Eagles cover this game too. Cover the 4.5 spread. Too much talent on offense and defense. Eagles defense is pretty elite too. Top tier defense. Then Packers have a good defense, but there's too much offensive firepower with the two top receivers and Saquon back there, lurking around.
And I think Hurts is going to play. And I get it. Like, they're like, oh, he's been in concussion protocol. Well, he wasn't going to play last week. They rested the starters clearly. I mean, could he have played last week? I don't know. I don't think they were really rushing to bring him back neither because Saquon sat, AJ Brown sat, all their best players started. So they weren't in a rush to bring the quarterback back. And I said, I think Kenny Pickett can beat this team. I just don't believe in Green Bay. I really don't. I believe more of Denver beating Buffalo than I believe Green Bay beating Philly. I really do. I'm not a Packers believer at all, not whatsoever.
Yeah, and game's in Philly too. So
yeah, this isn't like them coming to Dallas last year where Packers own the Cowboys in the playoffs. This is in Philly, and I always say it, playing in Philly in big games, it's tough. It's really it's a different atmosphere. All right, Luke, you ready for in my opinion, the game of the week? The Washington Commanders, led by Jaden Daniels, the rookie of the year on offense, in my opinion, versus Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, and the Bucs at Raymond James Stadium, Sunday Night Football. I'm glad they made the Sunday night I didn't think they were going to because I thought they were going to do Philly and Green Bay. But I'm glad they put Daniels versus Baker Sunday night. Luke, what are you looking for in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think this game's probably going to be a shootout. Both these defenses have proven they can be scored on fairly easily. And Baker's been playing lights out. And Jay Daniels is he's had a great season too as a rookie. So,
Yes.
Scary Terry's probably going to be eating up some of that Tampa defense. And Mike Evans and McMillan out there. McMillan's got a touchdown in the last 5 games straight. So I mean, he's proven to be a very good rookie wide receiver for Tampa.
And I believe he had
down.
I believe he might have had 2 touchdowns the first game against the Commanders too, week 1.
Yeah, he was a great dynasty draft pick for me. Thank God. Thank God you took Javon Baker in front of me.
Oh yeah, I did. I wanted to give yeah, that's true. Luke, I agree with you, man. These defenses, man, they are easily can be scored on. I mean, let's just be honest. I hate to say it. Like I love what the Commanders are doing. Don't get me wrong. I'm sorry, McMillan only had 1 catch for 32 and a touchdown. Mike Evans had 2 touchdowns. I'm rooting for the Commanders. My buddy CJ, who's commenting, he's an Eagles fan. Or I mean, he's a Commanders fan. I have family in Maryland that's a Commanders fan. So I would like to see that. My grandfather, who raised me, is a Washington fan. I would love to see the Commanders win this. And Luke, I believe it's going to come down to I believe it's going to be the 30s, high 30s. Whoever has the ball last, it's going to be leading them on a game-winning drive. It could be a touchdown. It can be a field goal. We've seen Daniels do it. We've seen Daniels have these game-winning drives in overtime against the Falcons, against the Eagles. We've seen him do it just recently. And not saying Baker can't do it. Baker's a beast of his own. You know, you have Mike Evans, you have Jalen McMillan, you have Bucky Irving. But Luke, I just feel it, man. I feel that this rookie he's going to do it, man. He's going to go into Raymond James. He's going to go into old Ray J. And he is going – sorry, CJ, I didn't mean to call you an Eagles fan. He's going to go into Raymond James Stadium. And, look, I'm telling you, he's pulling off the upset against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, I don't think so. I got old Baker doing his thing in the playoffs week 1 in the playoffs like he did last year. I mean, not an upset this year for Tampa, but I think he'll win at home again, get his 1 playoff win, and probably exit. So, I mean, I like this Tampa team. This Tampa offense, Baker, a big Baker guy, always have been in college. Even though he's playing on the Browns, I liked him at the Browns, but didn't like him at the same time.
Yeah, you don't like the Browns.
I like him. I like him as a person. Brown's biggest mistake was letting Baker go.
Oh, I agree there. I agree with you there.
And now he's thriving out in Tampa, out in paradise. And he's in paradise. He's going to stay in paradise. They're going to win this game.
And a lot of times too, when you succeed a legendary quarterback, remember he succeeded Tom Brady. He was literally the next year. A lot of times that immediate quarterback doesn't have success, and I'll give it to him. I had my doubts last year because I believe I didn't say Baker's going to be bad. I thought the O-line was going to be so bad Baker wasn't going to have enough time. Well, he was able to overcome that last year. He's been overcoming it this year. He's a little more banged up. He's wearing that elbow guard, which looks really funky on him. It just looks odd.
Tough guy though.
He's a tough dude. No, I give it to him. I think, but Daniels is tough too. I mean, and let's say God forbid he does go down. Marcus Mariota is capable of winning games. We've seen him do it this year.
Yeah,
he's actually got a playoff win.
If Baker goes down, I don't believe in Kyle Trask. So.
No, I don't believe in Kyle Trask. Mariota does have a playoff win with the Titans, but no, Luke, I believe that this game's like a 38-35, 38-34 kind of type game. This is going to be –
should be a fun game.
Oh, I'm believing the hype here. I believe that NBC got a good one here. And obviously I don't like the Bucs, but I'm rooting for the Commanders too. I want to see them do it. New ownership, finally, the Commanders, first time since the 90s, 12 wins in the regular season, too. Like, that's big. I mean, you went from 4 wins to 12 wins in a 1-year span. Dan Quinn, shout out to him, former Falcons coach. I do like Dan Quinn. His act got old in Atlanta, but I like what he's doing with DC. It's pretty good. Look, I'm going with the Hogs, man. I'm going with the Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to ride my second hometown team, ride the Bucs.
Yeah, well, Sydney's also
pocket Bucks fan, I guess.
Well, your soon-to-be wife is a Bucks fan, so I mean,
yeah. So pocket, probably gonna retire in Tampa, so probably go to more Bucks games. Been to a bunch of Bucks games already. Started to like a team a little bit when you go to their home games.
Their stadium's I actually like their stadium too. I mean, I know it's not like
it's old.
Yeah, it's not like the older ones,
but They got a pirate ship in there. It's pretty sweet. Fire the cannons.
The cannons do good. They always do good with the shows too. Like people, like I went there when they had like people like parachuting coming out like out of the helicopters and all. It's pretty cool what they do out there.
The
McDill's out there.
Yeah.
And McDill's out there too. So, but no, yeah, I think this is the game of the week. CJ, good luck to your Commanders. Shout out to all the Commanders fans that are watching too. I know we usually get a couple every episode. So, Luke, I think the second game of the week, honestly, is Monday night. And the question to be, we don't know where it's at yet. It could be in Los Angeles. If it's not in Los Angeles because of the fires, it's going to be in Arizona. Not like the Rams have much fans anyways, but Luke, the Vikings and the Rams, this is a rematch of, I think, a Thursday night game where the Rams did pull it off against the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about this game. I think this this game last week that the Vikings played really screwed them because I think this Rams team coming off they rested their starters last week, took the L and moved down in the to the 4 seed. I think this Rams team is going to come out guns a-blazing on this Vikings defense. This Vikings defense has been really good, but I don't know what happened to Sam Darnold last week. It looked like he was seeing ghosts again.
Agree with Riz. That game against the Vikings, they did miss that face mask in the end zone on Darnold. I remember that play.
Yeah, I don't think they still won't win the game. I don't think.
You never know. You just take the opportunity away from them. That's all.
Yeah, opportunity's gone, but they had to drive the whole field still.
Yes, they struggled that game. Luke, like you mentioned, though, I think it was odd that they sat their stars because I get it. You'd have played either Green Bay or Washington, and I really think if they played the Commanders were going to win. But I like this game, man. I like what the Vikings have been doing on defense, led by Brian Flores. Okay, they got torched last week against the Lions, and in the first half, they did a pretty good job. Let's be honest. Their defense did a good job in the first half. In the second half, the offense never got going. So eventually your defense is going to get tired. They're going to get gassed. If they're moving the ball and you're not, their defense is well rested. They were getting after Darnold pretty well. I think that the Vikings' offense is going to look a lot better against the Rams. Now, I get it. They do have a better front pass rush on the Rams than the Lions do, led by Jared Verse, defensive rookie of the year, in my opinion, and Brandon Fisk, two Florida State boys, Luke. But I think that Sam Darnold, and this, like we mentioned, Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels, their first playoff game. This is Sam Darnold's first playoff game. So what's he going to do with his biggest game of his career, too? What kind of pressure is he going to be able to handle here?
Yeah.
Like we thought last week was a big game. This is now the biggest game of his career.
Yeah, hopefully he's not seeing ghost out in the defense again. Dude, he just looked lost last week. I think this Rams team is going to be well rested. They'll be ready to go. And I just trust Stafford to do his thing. I mean, it's kind of hard to bet against Stafford in most games.
It is. I mean,
he's tough quarterback. He's very, very good. So if this Rams defense can hold up, I think the Rams have a very good shot to pull this game off.
I was telling Riz, because he's a Vikings fan, and he was saying, I think he picked the Rams this game. He's like, well, Stafford's got the experience. I'm like, well, yeah, but in Detroit, the few playoff appearances he made, he never won games. So the only time he's really had a run was a Super Bowl run. It was his only playoff wins.
That Detroit team sucked, though.
He had Megatron.
Yeah, one player.
But I will say this offense, though, I agree with you and Riz have told me. They have Puka Nacua. They have Cooper Kupp. Kyron Williams, I love Kyron Williams, especially since I'm in Dynasty. But Stafford, the last 3 games, I get they've won, but he has not looked good. He has looked very pedestrian. The last 3 games he's played.
Coasting his way in.
But can you look pedestrian against a Vikings defense that they've got a turnover every game? They're one of the biggest sack leaders. They have Van Geikel, Cashman. You have Hitman back there. You have Harrison Phillips, the big dude from Stanford. This run game with Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, the passing game, T.J. Hawkinson starting to look a little better. If Darnold can learn from the mistakes he had last week against the Lions, this Rams team might be in trouble as well because the Vikings do play smash mouth defense, and Brian Flores is going to preach that all week, and he's going to preach it on Monday night.
Yeah.
I'm going Skull. I got the Vikings.
I'm going to ride with the Rams here. I think they pull off the 1-point upset on the Vikings. And I think the Vikings' biggest mistake is losing to the Lions last week because now they're going to travel to L.A. or Arizona and get bounced.
They are. The question, though, is there more purple fans than there are going to be blue and yellow fans?
It probably will be at any stadium.
I mean, I don't know. I believe it's a good game, though. Don't get me wrong.
As long as they don't put this game in Minnesota, I think the Rams have a good shot.
I think it's going to be a good game, Luke. Before we jump into college, though, it's just me and you. We're the only two that have our Super Bowl predictions still out there. Like, we're the only ones that can get it right. Are you sticking with what you had?
Yeah, I'm sticking with my guns. Ravens, Lions.
Ravens winning, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Ravens winning. Sticking to it.
I'll stick with mine, too. I had Lions over Chiefs. I'll stick with it. And
Lions in.
We both have the Lions in. But
I could see the Eagles sneaking in, though. I think the NFC Championship game will be Eagles-Lions, most likely.
I can see any of the top 3 AFC teams, honestly, and I can see Chiefs. Obviously, I've already mentioned how high I think the Ravens are. Like, they're a pretty good team. I mean, they're really good this year. You can't, even if you hate Lamar, if you don't hate him, you have to recognize they are a good team. And it's Josh Allen. In the playoffs, I get it. We've had his history of turnovers the last, his handful of years. But in the playoffs, Josh Allen is probably arguably statistically the second best quarterback in the playoffs. That's just the way it goes.
You think old McDermott gets bounced if they lose to the Broncos?
I believe he should be. Yeah. And if I'm Ben Johnson, that's the job I go take right there. And Joe Brady can go. Obviously, he'll have to kick rocks because he's not calling plays with Ben Johnson there. But that might open the door maybe for Joe Brady to go like to the Bears, or maybe if the Bengals open their wallets and fire Zach Taylor and go coach with Joe Brady. If the Bills do lose week 1 or round 1 and they fire McDermott, Ben Johnson needs to take that job. That would be a scary combination with Josh Allen and Ben Johnson, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they need a couple more pieces, like
they do.
A wide receiver and some defensive pieces. Really,
maybe they go sign T. Higgins.
They got enough money for it.
I don't know. You better find something. That'd be scary, Luke. I think
T. Higgins about to get a bag. I don't think T. Higgins is going to take the hometown deal with the Bengals because they got to pay Jamar Chase too. So
he's probably the biggest free agent. Honestly, he's at least top 3 or 5 free agent. He might be number 1.
Jamar Chase still has 1 more year left on his deal, right?
Jamar Chase came in 2021.
So is he honest?
1, 2, 3, 4. He'll be going to his final year, his 5th year.
I don't think he plays unless he has a contract in his 5th year because he almost didn't play this year.
Well, I mean, he got the Triple Crown, so he's definitely getting paid. He's earned his contract. He's arguably like, I know, like there's some weeks people say it's Justin Jefferson's the best receiver. Next week it's Jamar Chase. It's usually those two. It's been all year. It's been which LSU wide receiver is the best one? Is it Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson? You got 1A and 1B, honestly.
Yeah, well, Jamar Chase is getting paid second, so he's going to get more.
Yeah, okay, because JJ came in the year before because Jamar Chase sat out that last year because of COVID in college in 2020. He didn't play in 2020. So, but Luke, let's jump into college, man. Starting tomorrow night, we have the Capital One Orange Bowl between the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the Penn State Nittany Lions, Big Ten versus Independent. 2 teams, Luke, historically in our lifetime that every year we question, can they show up in big games? Well, they got to the Final Four, and we've seen the Irish get to the championship, but we've seen them getting blown out in the championship. Can James Franklin finally get the monkey off his back and get to the championship, the College Football National Championship, or does Marcus Freeman in year 3 take the Irish to the national championship?
Yeah, I mean, this game I really don't know. I think this game's going to be I don't think it's be back and forth. I think it'd be probably mid-20s for both teams, points-wise. Yeah, I think both teams play pretty solid defense, pretty solid offense. Nothing like jumping off the paper on either team. I think these teams match up pretty well against each other. So
they're very similar too. Very similar.
Whoever doesn't make the mistakes probably wins this game.
It's very similar. You have 2,000-yard rushers from Penn State with Singleton and Allen. I mean, you have Love and Price out there. Hopefully, Love plays. He kind of got banged up against Georgia. So you have 2 good running back duos right here. And then you have Drew Aller versus Riley Leonard. Luke, I'm not the biggest Drew Aller fan, but I trust him a lot more than I trust Riley Leonard. I really do.
Yeah. Plus, Penn State had 2 more days of rest coming off their game too.
And they arguably have the best. They have arguably maybe one of the best weapons quietly in the playoffs too with Tyler Warren. I mean, he's at least arguably the best tight end. I know it's between him and Michigan's tight end, but this Tyler Warren kid, he's a beast.
He's been balling. Dude catches everything.
Yeah, the thing is that both teams' receivers are kind of like, it's like which one's going to be the number one that week. That's kind of why maybe I'm not a big Drew Aller fan, because I don't see him throwing the ball so much because they don't ever really have the big receivers like, the Ohio States, LSU's, Texas's, Alabama's. Like, they don't have those receivers that are going down the field every play and making big catches. But defensively, too, I think it's going to be a defensive game. I really do. I think it's going to be which one, maybe the first one to 20.
Maybe. I don't know. Excited for this one tomorrow. Should be a good matchup to start off the weekend. I think if Marcus Freeman gets the boys fired up like he did last week against Georgia, I think they have a really good shot to win this game. Because he had his boys ready to play.
Yeah.
Well disciplined team from what it looked like. So I mean,
but Penn State's been playing pretty good too. I know they came out hot against Boise at first and then slowed down.
They had a pretty easy ride to here though.
I would say both schools have had it. I know Georgia's probably better than, even at the moment, better than Indiana.
I'd say Georgia's better than Boise State. Yes.
Well, yeah, at the moment too. I would even say with Stockton, but
Indiana's probably better than SMU.
I would pick SMU to beat Indiana.
That'd be close.
And I'd pick Boise State to beat Indiana too. I think Indiana was the worst team in the playoffs. I don't care about the record. I really think that they were the worst team in the 12-man. I think all 11 teams beats them, including Clemson. I mean, I don't respect Indiana. I don't respect them. Clemson didn't beat Indiana.
Oh no, SMU. They beat SMU.
Yeah. Luke, I'm rocking with Penn State. I think the Nittany Lions get back to finally, and I think it's the first time in our lifetime that Penn State makes a national championship. It's good for them too. Good for James Franklin. He's in a quiet doubters. I think he's kind of shut that door now about hot seat. Obviously, this is his best opportunity too, because you got to avoid the big name schools. Hey, you got the 6 seed. Like I said, 5 and 6 were the two best spots to be. So he got lost the Big Ten championship, and guess what? You get to avoid all the conference losers, or all the conference winners. I'm going to go Penn State. I think Nittany Lions win this game. Close game.
Yeah, I think I'm going to lean with Notre Dame in this game, just because I think Marcus Freeman is going to have the boys ready to go. I think they're probably a more disciplined team overall, and they're not a bunch of dummies on the team. They're all smart kids.
Damn,
Notre Dame has standards.
We are pretty opposite tonight, man. We've had a handful of games.
Probably opposite in this next one too.
Yeah, speaking of the next one, Luke, I wonder what that one is. It's the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Texas Longhorns. In my opinion, this is the national championship. I believe the winner of this game wins the national championship. I believe whoever wins this beats Penn State and Notre Dame, and I don't think it's even close, honestly, in the game. I think it's going to be kind of like a 2-touchdown, 3-touchdown game. But, Luke, speaking of this game, before we preview any football, our college football championship, we can say that for next week. We have Ohio State. After that Michigan game, they have kicked ass. Let's be honest. They ran through Tennessee. They ran through Oregon. Texas.
Yep. Scored 40 points the last 2 weeks in each game.
Texas since the SEC championship. I think they beat Clemson pretty easily. I know Clemson kind of made a one-score game, and then we scored really like 2 or 3 plays later. It wasn't that much of a difference of how long it took to do it. And then Arizona State, we struggled in the second half, and defense got tired because the offense was playing pretty bad. But Luke, this is probably out of the 2 games, the best talent on the field on both teams. You have a talented Ohio State team, probably the most talented team in the playoffs. Yeah. And then you have Texas, Texas is still very talented as well. This is a lot of stars on both teams. Luke,
see which school can buy the better team.
It's what's going to come down to. I mean, and I believe it's going to come down to which quarterback makes the least amount of mistakes, because I said it last night. I don't know if we were on air when I said it, but when the Ohio State Buckeyes struggle, it's because the other team is physical and they punch them in the mouth and they make that offensive line struggle. And they do have weaknesses on the O-line. We have great pass rushers. We have a good defense that's very physical, very big, very dominant and fast and strong. If we can get to Will Howard and we can force him to make turnovers and we can force him to play behind the sticks, it could be a long day for Ohio State, and vice versa. If Quinn We've seen Quinn get a little more mobile the last couple of weeks because he's had to. But if Quinn struggles a little bit, is his confidence going to come down? That we've seen that this year. We've seen his confidence come down. I'll be honest, his confidence has come down at times. It's going to come down to which quarterback makes the least amount of mistakes in this game.
Yeah, I mean, both teams have the playmakers around these quarterbacks to light each other's defense up if the quarterbacks get hot. So, I mean, it could go either way, but I think Texas hasn't played a team with this much firepower yet that Ohio State has. So it's going to be very tough for your defense to pick and choose who they're going to try to cover.
Barron needs to be on Smith, though. He needs to be on Smith.
Smith's going to give you a tough day.
As long as Muhammad is kind of come back. I mean, it's weird because Muhammad was so good last year. In the last few games, Muhammad's kind of like he's kind of got burned. He's kind of been like playing bad. But they have Agbuka. I mean, I wasn't a big Agbuka fan coming in, but this year he's been playing pretty good. He's lived up to that potential that he had his first year.
Yeah, great. They have a great wide receiver core over here. So if the quarterback can get him the ball, this game could I think both teams could score in the 30s in this game.
See, I think it's on how 27-24.
Depending on how Quinn Ewers plays, I don't know if Texas is going to do like a couple quick scores, get up and chill until the fourth quarter or not, like just like the Texas special, get up big early and then chill the second, third quarter and try to ride it out in the fourth. Close the game out.
The thing with Texas is we can't get these long drives like we've been getting and then have dumb penalties that pushes back. To 1st and 15 or 1st and 20, 1st and 25, because now you're asking us to play way behind the sticks, and then you're just making errors and dumb decisions there at that point. And play calling needs
all these 3 and outs is what killed you last week.
3 and outs too,
Yeah, they're putting that defense on the field for a very long time against the Scattaboo back there.
But Arizona State and Georgia, we had a lot of penalties, and we're just beating ourselves, and that's kind of why we lost to Georgia, in my opinion. We just beat ourselves. And if we didn't do that, I think we would have won. Obviously, we didn't. And then last week, we almost did lose. And a lot of the penalties, they were costing us. And maybe a potential penalty that should have happened could have lost us the game. Now, they did miss a penalty on Arizona State. I'm not going to talk about what happened at the 1st and goal on the first overtime. Scattered touchdown shouldn't have counted, but they counted it. You can't pick a player up and drag them. They allowed it. Makeup call. Good makeup call. But Luke, I do think the winner of this game is the champion. Unless somehow you get some big injuries in this game, and then the next team plays a beat up Ohio State or Texas team. This is the CFP natty.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be. I mean, obviously, either team that wins would be the favorite, but we'll see what the teams look like playing this week.
Oh yeah,
my last prediction.
Definitely will be the favorite. Will be the winner of this game. Will be the favorite in Atlanta.
Yeah, but no, I'm around with Ohio State. I think it's too much firepower for this Texas team. Texas hasn't proven they can play a full game on offense pretty recently. So I mean, they get a big chill for a while and hope they can stretch out their lead until the end of the game. So I think Ohio State's going to do the same thing they did against Oregon and just come out fucking blazing.
See, I believe that's how we're going to come out. I think that we're pissed off after that. It was an embarrassing win, honestly. It was an embarrassing win to a team that we probably should have blown out. And maybe we play them 10 times, we probably blow them out 6 or 7 times. And, we got embarrassed on, the national spotlight. It was on us. And like you said, we kind of got out to that 14-0 lead. We kind of chilled out. The first offensive play, Quinn Ewers dropped like a fucking 50, 60-yard bomb. And then the next play, he threw a fucking 20 or 30-yard touchdown pass. So
and he had the punt return and then chilled until the next time he scores third quarter.
Defense played great the first half. Like I said, the defense was taking care of business. And I believe the defense played good the second half. It was just we're so tired that we just couldn't get off the field on third down. And it was just, that happens. I mean, if your defense on the field for a lot of half, they're going to get worn out. That's just the way it goes. But Luke, where my heart lies.
Yeah.
I'm going Longhorns. I'm hooking horns. And the loser of this game, by the way, they get to sit on this loss until Labor Day weekend when they get to run it back for the first weekend of next year.
Maybe one of the quarterbacks from this game is going to be playing for the other team next year.
Well, I was going to say because Will Howard can't come back, and
it'd be Quinn Ewers.
Yeah,
maybe he goes back to Ohio State. Or he goes to another school who's playing the game before.
It'd be a love hate thing for me too, because like I do like him. I like Quinn Ewers. I think he's a good college quarterback. I don't think he's gonna. I'm not big on the NFL. If he tries, I don't think his NFL talent's gonna be there. I think he's a good college quarterback. I just don't think he's NFL material.
He'll be a decent backup somewhere. Probably he'll take the Kyle Trask route. Just hanging out, collecting paycheck.
Maybe play a game here and there. You never know.
Yeah, preseason legend. That's probably what he's gonna be.
That's Sam Ellinger, baby. That's their Longhorn.
Yeah.
He's a free agent. Hey, he's a free agent this year. I hope every team that's out there and he's a third-string quarterback, give Sam a call. He'll win you some preseason games.
Oh, Plumlee's on the active roster for the Seahawks. Well, he was at the end of the season.
Oh, he was okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
as a wide receiver.
We saw a Texas Longhorn legend back in my old apartment come in as a backup for at the time, the Washington Redskins. Colt McCoy beat the Dallas Cowboys when the Cowboys were really good that year on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, that's another great backup quarterback.
He was. I'll give him that. He was and he was a great college quarterback. It just didn't work out. The injury, I believe, set him back, and then he got drafted by the Browns. And at the time, the Browns were a quarterback killer too, so it was unfortunate.
They still are.
Well, they didn't kill Baker. Baker actually won the playoff game, and then they said, "Oh, I mean, at the time, I get it. Watson was a better quarterback at the time, but 2020 hindsight, yes, it didn't work out, and it sucks for them. Sucks for them.
Glad it happened in the division. That's great.
And now they're linked to Kirk Cousins, which would really set them back even more. Luke,
I don't know what Kirk Cousins' contract's going to look like. I don't know if he's going to just take a vet minimum deal or what.
He ain't taking no cut.
That agent about to he's about to cook something else up for old Kirk.
I'll give the agent is a legend. That agent is, if they had an agent Hall of Fame, he'd be the first one in.
Yeah, he finds a way to get his quarterbacks money.
I don't know if the agent has other clients or I don't know who he is or not.
He doesn't need him. He's making enough money on Kirk.
He's getting good commission fee from Kirk, getting good little checks. But Luke, man, tomorrow night, I know we're going to be active in the chats between Discord and the chat with Doc and you and Chris. Friday night, we have Texas and Ohio State. I'm going to say it one last time, hook 'em horns, baby. And then Saturday, your team plays. And then Sunday and Monday, we get some good games as well. So, Luke, strap in because we have 5 days of football, 5 days of playoff football too, not just regular season, playoff football.
Yeah. I'm excited. Can't wait for it.
We can't wait to be back here next Tuesday night. Next week, we're probably only going to be running potentially one episode. Maybe we run two on Wednesday. I know, Luke, you're going to be questionable if we go Wednesday.
I will not be here on Wednesday. Probably not Tuesday either, actually.
No, we understand, Luke. For everyone that's watching or we'll come back and watch, congrats to Luke. Early congratulations. He is getting married on 10 days from now, actually, January 18th. Luke, we can't wait to be there. Me, and Chris.
Long time coming.
It's been a long time coming. Hey, and it's a it's gonna be a good night. It's gonna be a good weekend to honor you too. So we can't wait to
get nasty in Nashville.
We are going to have a good Friday night. We are not real Cowboys, by the way. If you're out there, we're not real Cowboys. So, but Luke, no, it's gonna be fun. We can't wait to have that in there. Whoever's gonna be here, we will be here at least Tuesday, potentially Wednesday, to recap the week, preview the week going forward. Also, give our college football national championship too. Luke will at least text me that so we can at least get that because we will know on January 20th who we playing. But Luke, good luck this weekend to your team. Good luck to every team that's out there that's watching us. Good luck to their teams. And like I said, hook 'em horns, baby. I'm Mark Davis. That's Luke Rule. This is All About the Balls podcast. Have a good night and have a good weekend.